Yo guys, welcome back to the Blue Podcast with me, Tom and Ben. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
We got Lyle and Jordan. How you guys doing?
Very good, thank you.
Good, thank you, mate. Thank you for having us on. Looking
No
forward to
worries. They are from the F1 debate show, and we'll obviously have their link in the description. Make sure to check them out. Thank you guys for all the support lately. Obviously, hit 500 subscribers on Halloween, and we're going to build from there. Check us out on Spotify, link in the description, and our merch. I'm not wearing it today, but, always normally rep it. Twitter at the Blue Podcast 1 and Instagram at the Blue Podcast 1. So go check those out and send us a message if you want to come on the podcast. Well, we'll start off with yesterday. Both of Lyle and Jordan are Newcastle fans, and disappointing result, would you say?
Yeah,
disappointing season.
Very disappointing. I mean, I would have expected, to be honest, us to beat Southampton. I wouldn't have thought a massive fight would have been there. But again, in terms of the table, they're doing really well. People like them and Everton are just really shocking us all. But I would have expected us to walk it. We have a few injuries, of course. Our main keeper's out, Martin Dubravka. But still, I would have expected an easy win or even a draw, but not a loss like that. That was pretty bad to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised we beat Everton the week before, because Everton, again, they've got a quality team and they're on a really good run as well as Southampton. So coming into Southampton, I was a bit, okay, maybe, we can get over the line and get a win. But of course, Southampton have absolutely been amazing for past year or so now. They've been on formidable form
since that 9-0, right?
Yeah, since the 9-0, and it's just that was just like a turning point for them. And I've always had a little soft spot for Southampton, because when I was younger, I liked Ricky Lambert as a striker, and he played obviously for Southampton. So I've got a little bit of an affiliation with them, not as much as what I used to, but even still, it's good to see them do well. But when they beat us, not so much. And we didn't play well. We didn't play well at all.
Fair enough. I mean, Southampton are now top of the league currently.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone wants a City win tomorrow, especially Ben, to keep to keep Liverpool from going top. I've just come from the Chelsea game, hence why I'm wearing the Chelsea kit. 4-1. I mean, I think we had 73% possession all game. I mean, we are, from a Chelsea standpoint, very happy with the result. It could have been 5-6. I think. So Sheffield United have had 1 point now this season with that loss.
Yeah.
Burnley and Sheffield United for relegation already?
I think it's difficult to call, but I mean, Sheffield did very, very well to stay up, of course, the Championship team. You always obviously expect one just to go straight up and straight down. But last year they did incredibly well. I'm still holding hope that they can really bounce back, but we saw Norwich last year. They were the ones. I think they started off very, very well and then fell back in the relegation zone, and it was a torrid season for them. So I'm hoping that Sheffield United can, of course, keep decent results. To be honest, they're like our nearest rivals almost in South Yorkshire.
Yeah,
so I'm hoping that they stay up for that reason. Because I mean, then who else do we have? We can't really keep saying Man City or Leeds United or right. Oh, I guess you can say Leeds, but
yeah, actually,
yeah, Leeds. I mean, Leeds have had a good start to the season as well.
yeah.
I'm just got a quick question for you Newcastle guys. Do you think you've had a good start to the season?
I think it's been better than, in terms of football, no, but in terms of results, yes, because we're in the top half of the table. We've had an okay start. I think we lost one of our first 9 or 10 games in all competitions. It could be a bit less than that, I don't know, but it didn't reflect the team's performances, because our squad is, I would say it's average. It's not the worst squad we've ever had. Like, we've had worse squads. We've had better squads, but we've had worse squads. We've always seemed to have, I'm starting to see like a bit of a little recurring theme with Newcastle recently. When we go through a phase where we have a decent squad, we always have a rubbish manager. But when we have a good manager, we have a bad team. You know what I mean? It has never balanced out. Probably since the Bobby Robson era, if I'm being totally honest with you. That's how long back it's been going. But I mean, we're in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup against Brentford. I mean, they're a difficult team. They're not going to be easy to beat. So that's a positive. One away from the semi-finals, which I think is only one leg now. So that's only two away from Wembley in a cup final for the first time since 1999 FA Cup final, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something to look for. You know, we're a club. We need a trophy. Any trophy would do, if I'm being totally honest. Not the championship, but any trophy would do. And yeah, I think I've been okay. Like I said, the football wise, yeah, I think maybe if we had someone like Rafa there, he could do a bit better with the squad. But then again, people have been saying, well, we're getting better results with Bruce, but Bruce, you know, he plays very defensive football, so that's something that we don't really want. And not only that, now we're having injury problems now because Callum Wilson, I think he's having a scan. I think he had one today or tomorrow, I'm not too sure. Ryan Fraser, and I think someone else was injured. I can't remember who it is, but it's now like because of all these fixtures and stuff, we're going to have a big injury list. But all in all, I'm happy with the start. It could have been a lot worse at the same time, but yeah, I do wish the football was a bit better.
Are you the same now?
I feel like with Newcastle sometimes we've got off to a bit of a different start this season. Obviously last year when we started the season with Bruce, and again, like John said there about people obviously were clinging on to Rafa. You know, I mean, we worship the height of my, like, you know, Newcastle kind of, you know, I loved going to the games through the Rafa days. Everyone loved Rafa, you know, obviously managing Liverpool as well, Chelsea. He did so well. I mean, obviously his heyday definitely was Liverpool. My dad's a Liverpool fan as well, so I knew a lot about that as well. Came to our club, absolutely loved it. And then as soon as he went to China, and Steve Bruce came in, obviously managed Sunderland as well, and we were, you know, a bit disheartened. Got much better results. And to be honest, around last season, I know obviously when I talk about last season, but I started getting a little bit kind of frustrated a little bit because I was such a fan of Steve Bruce. You know, it was kind of an in Bruce we trust kind of thing. The fact that he was getting better results than Rafa Benitez was. And again, that was really pushing us forward, along with some of this young talent as well, like the Longstaff brothers that were coming through, of course, you know, Newcastle born and bred through the ranks. We kind of thinned out the ridiculous signings by Mike Ashley. You know, we had obviously Alan Saint-Maximin, Joe Linton, then we had people like Emil Kraft who were signed before. You had real floppers like, I want to say Joe Linton. I mean, he was okay, but £40 million definitely not. So remember Emil Kraft was signed.
Not worth 40 pence.
Then we have and then we had them diamonds in the rough. I mean, of course, Alan Saint-Maximin for sure. I remember a few years ago, Jose Perez, definitely diamond in the rough. Definitely one of our best players of the decade. 2 million from Mallorca, I think it was, or Malaga, Tenerife, one of those places. This season started off a bit slow for us. Now, again, like Jordan elaborated on there, Callum Wilson, new signing, absolutely incredible. Really good start for us. Really a player that we didn't expect to kind of take to the team really fast. I think we were looking at people like Miguel Almiron and again, Alan Saint-Maximin to be the ones, you know, heading up the team. He's out now, which is a real shame. Again, Dubravka, I know that we've got, you know, with Carl Darlow, our secondary goalkeeper, it's a hard position to fill, of course, Dubravka obviously being, again, one of our best players. My first player that I really loved at Newcastle was Shea Given, a goalkeeper. So again, I'm like, I do have a bit of a soft spot for the goalkeepers. You know, I see the role and I think they're such important at the team, more so than, again, a lot of people will think about. But I think we're doing well. You know, we have a great home. We do really well at home, which is quite good to see because, again, with the COVID situation and obviously no one playing with fans, they're thinking this whole field advantage is absolutely making no difference. You know, there's no difference whatsoever. But Newcastle are thinking it does. We're playing this in James Park, our home, and that's really helping. To be honest, yesterday was a little speed, but it was an embarrassing game. But I do think that we're having a good start of the season, and hopefully fans will be allowed in for next year to see the second half of what is turned out to be a promising season, I would say, for Newcastle.
I mean, from I guess you call it as a neutral point of view, when you looked at Newcastle's signings at the start of the season, you're like, Newcastle are actually investing in decent players. Like Callum Wilson, quality player. I would have thought more teams would have been in for him. Ryan Fraser on a free it's a steal. Like you would have thought there'd been a few clubs within that area. So
I mean, I think Wilson said that he wanted to come to Newcastle, which was like, why? I think was it Aston Villa was the other team that were chasing him, which would have been good for them because they've had a good start as well. So I think he would have probably preferred to go to Aston Villa. You know, not many big. Obviously, Wilson's not like a big player, but he's a goal scorer, and when he's fit, he can score goals. Yeah. And like what I said earlier about Ricky Lambert, I had a thing for Callum Wilson as well. Like I really liked him as a goal scorer for Bournemouth, and I had a little soft spot for Bournemouth as well. It's something about the South Coast, I don't know what it is. And
it's not that great, the South Coast.
No,
great.
it's just I don't.
Hey,
like
I live in the South Coast. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
No, it's fine.
The
It's
South
fine.
Coast.
I don't. I'm from London. I don't support anything from the South Coast.
no, okay.
I just wanted to. Obviously, Newcastle are playing Chelsea after the international break, and I was going to ask Ben from a neutral standpoint. How do you think that game is going to go for the two clubs?
I mean, you would expect Chelsea to win, but I probably think it'll be a closer game than people think. Like I'll probably go like something like 2-1 Chelsea or something. Just merely because obviously Chelsea, like we were saying in previous podcasts, are building something on the up and progressing, blah blah blah. But you can't. It's the Premier League. You can't write off Newcastle. Decent start of the season.
Very much an underdog team. I think everyone has a soft spot for Newcastle. That's what I've found.
Well,
Talking to these neutral fans like yourself, Ben, when Newcastle are playing, you'll be in the pub and it'll be like, who are you going to support? And if you have no ties to them, obviously, like, your friend is a Chelsea fan, so it's probably a bit hard for you to say no. But if you have no ties whatsoever, then that's when you'll be like, I'll go Newcastle. It's a team that we all love to like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got that history with Shearer. Obviously, I think everyone loves Shearer really, and what he did with Newcastle. So I understand
that history that Newcastle have got though, like the stadium and everything. With like I know you had the Saudi takeover fall through, but with an owner like that and the history you've got, you would expect Newcastle to be like a top 6 club probably. Just about that sort of coming together, because you've got everything there. You just need that financial.
We've got the supporters 100%, and many people have said this, that a club like Newcastle should probably deserve better. Like the heyday, like the Keegan era, you could say like go back. And then obviously we had like the second generation of that with the Bobby Robson era, which was just after when I first started getting into football, which was probably the 04-05 season was the first season I fully started watching football. And I went to my first Newcastle game against West Brom not long after he got sacked. And when you understand the love we had for Bobby Robson and how good the team was and the players that we had, you think we should have won something with that team. And likewise with Kevin Keegan, it's like we should have won the Premier League in that year, 12 points over United, and we blew it. It's like what we were like the old Liverpool, you could say. We bottled it every time. And no offense to any Liverpool fans. And I mean, people always say that, like, we do like to go on about how we expect to win the Premier League every season. We expect to win the Champions League every season. It's in my expectations, that's not true. At the end of the day, I just want to see us in the Premier League, and I want us to compete in the cups. I do in my lifetime want to see my club win something, and I want it to be like in a good way. So, for example, if we win the Carabao Cup this season, right, and it'll be a brilliant achievement, but I'll look back at it and go, let's face it, we had an easy run up to it. Obviously, first of all, you've got to beat whatever's in front of you, which is fair enough. It's not Newcastle's fault. We've got the easy clubs. But if we beat the likes of City and United and Chelsea and whoever, then we can go, wow, we truly earned that. But if we like just beat your little clubs, and it's like, okay, then maybe you could say we fluked it. But still, though, it's a cup's a cup, and that's how desperate we are to win something. It doesn't matter who we get. I mean, I would love a story like Leicester's. So, and I think Leicester's story will never be rewritten again. But like some sort of fairy tale like that would be incredible. But no, in my expectations as a Newcastle fan, I just want to see us to win a cup, because or go to the final. If we go to the final and lose, fair enough. I've seen our club in the final, and I want to see that maybe again in like maybe in a few years' time. I don't expect it every single year, but with the fan base and the stadium, like you say, and the potential the club has, it can be a top six side, no problem whatsoever. It's not like if Newcastle finished in top 6, it wouldn't be like oh wow, it's not like Bournemouth finishing top 6 or Sheffield United finishing top 6. It's like well, should they be there? If Newcastle finish in top 6, maybe some people should go, oh yeah, I should expect a club like Newcastle to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, we'll have to wait and see what the future holds, I suppose.
I think with like sort of going for cups and that, sort of a symptom of the financial thing with the Premier League has sort of affected like clubs in and around the area Newcastle is of going for those cups. Because if Newcastle went and played their strongest team every time in the cup, they probably have a decent chance. Because of the finances in the Premier League, those teams in like the mid-table sort of place, they play weakened sides even though they've not got Europe because they want to stay in the Prem for the financial reasons.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a difficult one, really.
But that being said, though, about like obviously John was saying there about the cup, it's not the main cup, but the championship. We were in the championship in 16-17, and from my standpoint, I absolutely loved that season. That was probably one of my favourite seasons for Newcastle. And I don't just mean history; I mean actually seeing it with my own eyes again. Just to mention F1 for the first time in this podcast. I like to. Like for example, my greatest of all times and all that game. Me and John are going to go in that in a few weeks' time. Where we're planning to obviously go into more detail in our channels about that. I like to say who I've actually seen. So, for example, I don't know if you know, but obviously this Australian driver, Mark Webber, he won the first race that me and Jordan both attended when we were at school. So for that reason, I don't obviously think he's the best. I don't think he's better than Lewis, but I do like him as a driver because I saw him race. So with Newcastle, I like to see what I've actually seen. 16, 17, going to the games on a regular occasion with Jordan as well. And, it's I found it quite easy as well, just a simple jump on the bus, easy ticket in, 90 minutes, go and get some food afterwards, it's easy. We had a great run in the championship, obviously. We got promoted with Preston about 2 months beforehand, and then it went down to the wire. We played Barnsley, beat them 3-0, and that was also the game when Brighton were playing Aston Villa at the Amex.
That was a good
And of course, it was a 1-1 game. Jack Grealish scores for Aston Villa, and obviously means that the cup goes to us by 1 point. And again, absolutely loved that season from start to finish. And again, me and Jordan got to see them actually lift the cup. It was so good. And again, I know that of course it's not the cup that we want, or maybe the cup that we need. It was a cup that we needed to do that again. And of course, we did that in 2009 as well because we went down, came back up straight away. And to do that again in that year was absolutely incredible. I never want to go back down the championship again for sure because there was always like. From about 2006 to probably about 2015, 2016, there was an era when basically the North East football teams, the Middlesbrough, Sunderland and Newcastle would just keep bobbing from the relegation zone to just, staying above water. Maybe one of us would go down. And that's how it went for about 10 years in that period. And the North East was kind of a bit of a laughingstock when, again, like you said there before, not just Newcastle, but the North East, we're loyal fans. We've got a good history with passionate football fans. And we just kept doing that. And it was like, we need to break the chain. And of course, now we're safe. Middlesbrough is safe where they are. They're not going to get the Premier League, but they're safe now. I think, and I'm so glad that Sunderland were the ones to take the dive and go down to League One and break this hex.
They took one for the team.
They took one for the team.
Well, you've just touched on F1. I want to hopefully bring it slightly away from football and talk about F1 because obviously you guys are F1 YouTubers. We spoke about it on Twitter about when times that F1 and football have overlapped, and we were just chatting beforehand about some of those times. So do you guys want to speak about some of that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest one I remember was so I would say I started becoming an F1 fan in 2010. That was probably my first main year. And again, 2012 was an absolutely incredible year for F1. And I remember the Sauber team would have the emblem of Chelsea on the nose. And I had a big connection with Chelsea in that time. That was probably the first time I actually ever saw like a football team from the Premier League, being shown in a Formula One car. It was, really good. And again, the drivers at that point were Mexican driver Sergio Perez and Japanese driver Kamui Kobayashi, and they would do like PR things with Chelsea. So they went to Stamford Bridge and they went to London and things like that. And I had photos with, some of the Chelsea players like Frank Lampard back then, John Terry. And yeah, I mean, that was probably, again, I don't know too much about that one, but that was like the first time I remember football, being in F1.
I personally don't remember any of that. I think I was too busy following the Champions League at that point.
All right, yeah.
I'm being 12 years old,
I was too busy watching us win the league first time. So.
You about to say something, Jordan?
Oh yeah, I was going to say that was my first like affiliation with football and Formula One. Like intertwining with each other was the Chelsea partnership, which I found quite interesting because I love. I'm not just saying this because I'm on your podcast, but I love the Chelsea logo and I've loved it ever since the Mourinho days as well. And seeing it on the F1 car on a very nice, I would say it was a good looking car at the time. Not a lot of people don't really like the livery that the Sauber car was in 2012, but it was black and white. So come on.
Mm.
We've got to like it, haven't we?
Had a bit of a blue tint, yeah, but yeah.
That was nice though. Black, white, and blue. It's my favorite
Yeah,
colours.
good. Yeah, good colours. Yeah.
It was. And the colour podcast. And yeah, so obviously having that like football and F1 into one, it was really good. And obviously the QPR owner at the time, Tony Fernandez, he bought the Caterham Formula One team as well. So again, that again intertwined with each other. You had the QPR logo on the side of the Caterham, which didn't look really that appealing. The Chelsea and Sauber, it really, Sauber had a good year. Like Lyle said, they had a really good year for a team that don't normally do well. It was a promising year for them. But then you had Caterham, who they were always at the back. They never did anything. They never scored a point in Formula One in four or 5 seasons they were in the sport. So that just shows the scale of things. Even Fernandez coming in couldn't really save them. And having the QPR logo on the side of the Caterham was a bit. Yeah, I don't really get that. And another one as well was another football team, an F1 team had a little partnership was Reading. They had a partnership with a team called Marussia, which again, they were in the same boat as Caterham. They were always at the back, not funded very well. They did score a point. However, in Monaco, they did score 2 points. So but there wasn't like a big deal about that. There wasn't like a massive hoo-ha. I didn't even realize until I was watching like Football on 5 or whatever, watching the championship highlights on the telly, and I seen Reading had like the Marussia logo on the top of the shirt in 2013. So I was a bit like, oh wow, I didn't even know they had that. But apart from that, football in F1 obviously don't really have any main partnerships anymore. I mean, they do have a charity football match in Monaco whenever that rolls around about end of May. So they get like some F1 drivers, 1 or 2, maybe some legends of football as well. They always play at the Monaco Stadium, obviously, and that's like another thing as well. We seen Felipe Massa do some kick-ups in
Italy. We did.
Italy 2017, which that's nothing. But I'm scraping the barrel of that one. I've seen the F1 logo in St James's Park when they're advertising Sky F1. Is that all I know? No.
I mean, there's a lot of the F1 drivers are just naturally gifted at a lot of things, but there is a few of those drivers in on the grid that are really into the football. I think the one that comes to mind first, again, like we talked about Monaco, then of course a fan of Monaco, the team is Charles Leclerc. Of course, Monaco drives for Ferrari. He's really big into his football. He's always doing like kick-ups and things like that. Again, just another way of fitness for them, of course, but it's really good to see. And also, there isn't much crossover. But when drivers do talk about football, so for example, of course, Lewis Hamilton, everyone knows who Lewis Hamilton is. He's an Arsenal fan.
Who is he? I don't know.
He's from Stevenage, which is in Hertfordshire, I think. It's not too far from North London. So fair enough, he's supporting his local club. He's not just being a Glory fan. Which is fine. I think it is a local club. You could support Stevenage Town, yeah.
Local club.
But and he did it like a charity. I don't know if this was a full game, but I just remember this being on a clip of Sky Sports F1, because that channel runs continuously throughout the year. I don't even know how they fill loads of content to do that. And of course, they had Lewis playing with Thierry Henry and stuff. And there has been interviews where he has talked about the Arsenal, but in terms of what we actually have seen of him, I've never seen him at the Emirates or anything like that. I do remember though, just on an unrelated note, that I remember we were doing a fact file, or we were talking about certain drivers, and I was talking about George Russell, driver for Williams, British driver, obviously kind of bit of a very very like a young prodigy in F1, and he is a Wolves fan, he's a Wolves fan, but his dad was actually involved in the board, and his dad was massive in going to Molineux and being involved with Wolverhampton Wanderers, especially obviously in their rebuild into the Premier League and things like that. So, that was a connection. Again, I've never really seen George go to the games. I think I said that he went to his first game quite recently, but again, that's nice to see. I remember also when the World Cup came around in 2018, just seeing some of the drivers. I mean, of course, you're going to watch your national team play, but when we see things like Carlos Sainz would be, sending like an Instagram story of him watching the, Spain play Portugal or whatever. It was like really close weekend. It is really good to see but as I say though, these F1 drivers, they have likeness in sport, of course, sport national teams, of course, and maybe they just don't love football, but obviously they're just, because they're so skilled at F1, they're so finely tuned to sport, they're just good at everything. And obviously that's maybe why we saw, Felipe Massa doing kick-ups in Monaco, even though he is from Brazil, and don't they like to do like kick-ups, they can do kick-ups anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it always seems to be like the sort of B-Tech teams that do the partnerships with the team, with football.
You calling Chelsea a B-Tech team?
Yes, there we go.
B-Tech F1 team. But I mean, one crossover I can think of, it's not really a crossover, but the Russian Grand Prix, Sochi, when you're driving around there, you can see the stadium that was in the 2018 Russia World Cup.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was, because when I was watching the World Cup at the time, I was literally, right, this is how, like, sometimes my brain works. My brain is just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work all the time, but it has its moments. But this is when my brain was just stale, was just flatlined. Obviously, watching the World Cup, and I literally went, not thinking about where the location was, where it was being held in the country. I went, I recognize that. Where's that from? And for about 2 minutes, I'm going, where's that from? And then the penny dropped. I was like, that's the Olympic Park. That's where they held the Russian Grand Prix. I don't know why I didn't look at it and went, oh, that's Sochi.
Yeah.
Maybe because the track is that dull. My brain was just went, no, don't mention it.
It is dull.
Don't mention it.
It is dull.
It's
I remember also when I went to Singapore a few years ago, on the actual, Singapore's, the track is absolutely incredible. It's about 95% of it is made off roads that they use normally around the city, around the Bay of Singapore. Absolutely incredible circuit to go to. Ran at night, amazing. And on the it's hard to explain, but they kind of go under a grandstand. It's kind of a bit of like an inverted C, kind of where they drive on the track. And then there's a little football pitch that's off the track. That's actually built. It's man-made. It was actually built into the marina. And that's where Singapore national, I don't know if it's where they actually play, but it's definitely where they train. And it's actually a football pitch that's made three corners of it are actually, so I mean, if anyone kicks that ball, or may go and get that ball for us, get your armbands on, get the boat out. But that's sounds for, I think it's in like a concert or something, or if that's where they put the main screen for the race. But I assume that's being on like football's weirdest stadiums and stuff. But and obviously where the grandstand is permanent, because obviously people actually sit there and watch when the Singapore national team play on that little, let's call it a raft. It's not even a pitch. Let's call it a raft.
All right. Well, have we got time for a quick little quiz to see if you guys know which F1 driver supports which club?
Yeah, let's go.
Right, let's
right.
go for it.
Who does Nico Rosberg support?
Oh God, it's complete
I
guess.
think I know it. Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bayern Munich.
Correct. Fernando Alonso.
Barcelona.
Real Oviedo.
No, Real Madrid.
I thought it was
No.
He's from Oviedo.
Next to Perez, wasn't he, at one time?
Yeah. Sebastian Vettel.
I'm going to say Heppenheim, only because he's from. I know
Is
he's
it
from
Hoffenheim?
It's not Hoffenheim.
Oh.
Frankfurt.
Yes.
Frankfurt. Oh, right.
Michael Schumacher.
Oh,
Borussia Dortmund.
I have no idea. I don't even.
FC Cologne.
Oh, Cologne.
Cologne. Okay.
Never known that. Never knew that.
Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton Senna.
Oh God.
Or it might be. It might be Corinthians.
It is Corinthians
in Brazil. Yeah,
it is.
I don't know any. Do you know what? I don't know any teams in Brazil. I was trying to think of just any.
The first time I heard of Corinthians was when they played Chelsea in the Club World Cup back in 2013. I think it might have been when Lukaku.
It was 2013. Start 2013.
And I think Corinthians won, didn't they?
It's got blocked from my memory, mate. I can't remember. That's all I had down. But yeah, been a pleasure to have you guys on. A little short and sweet podcast. Make sure to check them out. I will definitely have their link in the description. Ben, please do remind me. But yeah, thank you guys for coming on. We'll see. This podcast should be out. No. Might need to put their link in the description. This podcast should be out Tuesday, I think, 4 p.m. So that's for you guys. And we'll have another podcast out Thursday, 4 p.m. So as we said before, 4 podcasts within the space of a week. So we hope you guys enjoy that. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. And yeah, we'll see you guys on Thursday. Goodbye.